But I mastered that style. It's like the Five Deadly Venoms. So all he had to do was get next to a nigga like that, he could destroy him.
Believe in that, for real. We plan to take the same strategy we used with Death Row West, mind over matter, taking all our weaknesses and make it into our strength. That all these people talk about an East Coast, West Coast war, they like the Judas was to Jesus. They only here to cause confusion. We here to bring money and to bring change. They here to cause confusion. All these weak rappers, Nas, all these suckers, they battling off of East and West like this is a game. This ain't no game. If this was chess, we'd be yelling checkmate 3 years ago, because we've been beat these. It's not a game.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. It's the return of Ego Veli. Now, when I first started, I told you I was going to create the New World Order, a new breed, establish a new government. And I don't know why, but you guys will not leave me alone. Now you got to get this ether. You have awoke Ego Veli. Still I rise. Outlaw West Side. Now, everybody keeps showing me articles, asking me, sending me texts about Manny Pacquiao and his shoulder injury. I guess he went to the doctor, they did an MRI, and he has a significant tear. Now, I'm going to break this down and leave me alone after this with this whole situation. Point blank period. We argued for 5, 6 maybe years about who is the fighter of this generation. Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao. You could check my track record. If someone wins legit, even if I picked against them, I give them credit. If they won fair and square, no politics, then I give it to them. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, props. You did your thing. You proved me wrong. I would give Pacquiao full credit. But I cannot respect this. I cannot respect this behavior with acting as if you lost solely because of this shoulder injury or whatever you're claiming. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what's going on with Manny Pacquiao's shoulder, but here's some things that I do know, right? And what I do know is if you fight in the style that Manny Pacquiao does fight, an aggressive southpaw action fights, that's why people like him, right? You know what I mean? He throws a lot of punches, a lot of combinations, and you're 36 years old and you've been fighting your entire life since you were a kid to get off the streets in General Santos in the Philippines. Then you're bound to have aches and pains and things that are wrong with you, right? So that's one thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if majority of a lot of boxers who have been fighting this long with this type of style have something that is detected in an MRI in terms of like, oh, this looks like an aged bone. Brian Bosworth, a football player, they said the reason he retired early is because from so much weightlifting and football practice and playing the game of football, they said he had the knees or whatever, or the back or something of a 70-year-old man because it's a lot of tension and friction and wear and tear on your body. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pacquiao does have some kind of injury or some things that are not normal for the average 36-year-old man. He's a fighter. That's one thing. Two is I would not be surprised if I don't even know if he has an injury. That's the first thing. There's nothing that showed or indicated in the fight or post-fight when you're talking to Max Kellerman that you have an injury. But hypothetically, if I'm to believe that you have an injury, right? Let's say you have an injury and I'm supposed to believe that. Okay, cool. Hypothetically, you have an injury. And even though you didn't show any signs of it as you're throwing vicious, hard shots with your right hand, with your left hand, and you were trying to, but you just really couldn't corner Mayweather and catch him. But I'm still supposed to believe you had a shoulder injury. Cool. I would not be surprised if he does allegedly have a shoulder injury if it's a result of that particular fight. Not a pre-existing injury that he carried in, you know what I'm saying? But more so something that really got tweaked as he failed to cut off the ring effectively against Floyd Mayweather. I told you he didn't have a good jab, so being the shorter fighter, he's going to lunge like he always does. He's going to reach like he always does and put himself out of position. So he might have tweaked something, but that would be in fight. So that's fair game. You know what I mean? The fact of the matter is this, and I showed the clip in the Monday Mail Day. I'll show it again right now. This is Pacquiao a week out, and he's throwing fast. He's throwing combinations. He's throwing bombs. It looks like he looks good. It doesn't look like there's any aggravation. So again, maybe he did aggravate something, but it's a result of you not being able to effectively get off your game plan. So you had to overextend yourself trying to catch the taller fighter who fought smart and fought tall and controlled the distance, and you messed up something because you were searching for him and you don't know how to cut off the ring like Gennady Golovkin, like Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., right? Another thing, stop with the excuses. You lost. That's not going to get your belts back. I don't care if you show me doctor's reports, Dr. 90210. It doesn't matter. Dr. Dre, Dr. Kevorkian, I don't care who you've seen. Take care of it, handle it, and get back on track with your career. Fight whoever. One, I don't even think Mayweather will fight Pacquiao, especially if he's being disrespectful. Now, he made a lot of money, so he might, but especially since he didn't pay any kind of homage or give him any type of praise or props for a good competitive fight, when Mayweather didn't trash talk Pacquiao or his team the whole way after, and even after the fight when he was the victorious one, he still didn't. And you're doing this, it sounds like they're doing this to set up a storyline for creating boxing media and writers, these dumbass people who are going to write these articles, but it's going to fail because people know what's up, you know what I'm saying? But they're attempting to try to make it like, oh, he was a one-handed, one-armed fighter, he's the fugitive and shit, the one-armed man, and this is why he lost. You lost because you don't have the skills to beat Mayweather, pretty much, you know what I'm saying? And if you did, then you would have pulled the trigger. There's been, like I said, there's been boxers throughout history. There's a video on YouTube, and I'll try to put the link in the description. A guy did something like dislocated his shoulder. He was literally fighting with one hand, literally, but you can see it. You can see his shoulder dislocated. The commentators are talking about it, and somehow, some way, through divine intervention and heart and tenacity, he ended up getting a knockout when the guy tried to pour it on too thick. And there's a UFC clip like that where the dude, there was this black dude, I forgot his name off the top of my head, and he started getting thrashed, and it looked like he was going to get knocked out maybe twice. And the guy got too over aggressive and got knocked out himself. Just classic miraculous clips. If you're a top premier athlete like Mayweather, like Pacquiao, then you got to work with whatever obstacles. Maidana Mayweather's in against a guy who's outweighing him 17 pounds with a cut over his eye, bleeding into his eye, obstructing his vision. He still found a way to get the win and get it done. Pacquiao had a close fight with Eric Morales, but battled a cut. He's battled cuts in his career before. He didn't get to wear the gloves he wanted. I don't want to hear all these excuses. And this is the other thing. What's excusable for one fighter is not excusable for the next fighter. Floyd Mayweather fought Castillo in the first fight. I'm not even here to debate whether you think he won or lost. On paper, Floyd Mayweather won that fight. And he was victorious. He won and beat Castillo, despite what you believe. That's what the judges saw. And he said post-fight, yeah, I could have did better, blah, 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 but I couldn't throw and get off like I wanted to because of my rotator cuff, right? He had a surgery within the same year. I think it was like 6, maybe 7 months after their first fight. After his surgery, after the rehab of whatever shoulder surgery that he had for the issue that he immediately claimed. Unlike Pacquiao, Mayweather, if you watch that post-fight, link in the description, versus Castillo, he was talking about his shoulder was tweaked. You know what I mean? He didn't wait to get coached by somebody or whatever, right? He immediately declared this at the post-fight. He says, you know what I mean? I couldn't get off because of my shoulder. It wasn't later. That, to me, that makes it sound fabricated that Pacquiao didn't say anything when Max Kellerman was like, oh, we all thought you lost. I would be like, hey, I was one-armed. If you're going to bring out the excuses, why don't you bring it out right then and there on the spot when you're claiming that you won? And I'm going to get to that too. But anyway, in the Mayweather fight, he immediately post-fight declared in the Castillo fight that he couldn't get off as much as he wanted to because of his arm. Had this shoulder surgery, convincingly beat Castillo, and nobody talks about the second fight. They only talk about the first fight. So again, what's excusable for one fighter is not good enough for the next. People don't want to give the benefit of the doubt to Mayweather in his situation. They're like, no, Castillo beat him. He's a bum, right? He lost. He shouldn't be undefeated because Castillo beat him. No one wants to give him the benefit of the doubt, but you guys want to leave me comments talking about, oh, but Pacquiao's shoulder, it's true, it's true. You don't know it's true. You're not part of this equation. Pacquiao just made $90 million. I know people who get prescriptions for shit that they don't even really have wrong with them. They get Vicodin and stuff that you have to be prescribed in order to take. They get all that Oxy and stuff like that because they know somebody that knows somebody or whatever the hell they do. So a guy who just made $90 million I wouldn't be surprised what, you know what I mean, what kind of, you can get second opinions and stuff. You get a doctor to say anything, but despite if it's true or if it's false, you lost and it's too late. You had your opportunity, like Eminem said in the Lose Yourself song. If you had one shot or one opportunity, would you catch it or would you let it slip? You let it slip. Pacquiao let it slip. You didn't capitalize. You could have postponed the fight, and people keep making excuses for that. If this is in fact true, 3 to 4 weeks ago, your shoulder was just a bum shoulder and you couldn't compete, right? Pull out of the fight. Danny Garcia did it. He got heat too. Zab Judah was talking mad shit on social media because he pulled out of the fight. They were supposed to fight in February, and people were like, Danny Garcia is scared. He's a chump. And then Zab Judah was corroborating. He was like supporting that. He was like, oh, he's scared. He don't want to fight. And people thought he was going to pull out of the fight completely. But they just postponed it and rescheduled it. And this particular fight, it wouldn't have been a bad idea to reschedule it till September, because I thought the promotion could have done a lot better. They should have did a press tour and did a little bit more to build it up. But because negotiations stretched so long that, you know what I mean, it didn't get the proper coverage and stuff. You know what I mean? They might have been able to work out a deal to do a HBO face-off or a joint 24/7 or something like that, but they were kind of under the gun. So again, that's your fault. If you didn't pull out of the fight, postpone it, you know what you were getting into, that's no one else to blame. Then another excuse that I can shut down right now. People are like, oh, that's not a good performance. Mayweather needs to rematch him because he couldn't even get out a one-armed Pacquiao. He couldn't get him out of there, man, right? Pacquiao dealt with Bradley with a visible injury. I could see him actually roll his ankle because of not wearing socks or whatever he was tripping off of. You could physically see it. And I mean, he was in a wheelchair after, immediately, something he declared. He didn't wait. You know what I'm saying? He said, he was saying it in his corner. You could physically see him roll his ankle, and Pacquiao didn't finish him. So dead that. Because Mayweather didn't finish Pacquiao out with allegedly one arm, now they need a rematch? No, I don't even want to see a rematch. I want to see Mayweather retire, really retire. You don't really have anyone else to fight. I want to see Mayweather retire, or if you're going to fight someone fresh. Keith Thurman, Kell Brook, Amir Khan, something like that. I don't want to see Pacquiao. You had your opportunity. You came up short. And that's just what it is. So stop with all these excuses. And it's the shoulder, man. And that is not what I want to hear from a premier athlete. It just sounds like sour grapes. We waited 5-6 years for a conclusion, and you're telling me the biggest fight of the century, you and your team thought it would be best to hide this injury. Instead of postponing it and making people mad, you would rather go in there and then look like shit, win 3 rounds, you know what I mean? Or not look like shit, but not look like your typical self, and win 3 rounds and disappoint everybody because you lost and everybody was leaning on you and counting on you to beat or knock out Mayweather. So you would rather do that. That makes sense to you. Come on, man. And the other thing is, you can always tell a lie by consistency. Again, why didn't Pacquiao bring any of this up post-fight immediately? You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't even care if it's true or false. I'm saying dead it. If it's true or if it's false, you lost. There's no one to blame. You couldn't cut off the ring, and you were still throwing hard. There was no indication. When I'm talking about, I've seen fighters fight injured. Lomachenko, he literally stopped using the hand that was injured. Tim Bradley, you could literally see him roll his ankle. Sergio Martinez versus Cotto, you could literally see he had no balance. Sam Solomon versus Jermaine Taylor, he couldn't even stand up. I don't even know how he finished the fight. Jermaine Taylor should have knocked him out. You know what I'm saying? These are visible things that you could actually see. Victor Ortiz, when he got his jaw broke, I mean, he was in his corner and his mouth looked all like Bobby Brown. And I know you're getting poor dealing with him. Like, he had that crooked ass mouth. You know what I mean? You could tell something was wrong with Victor Ortiz's jaw. So with Pacquiao, he's the only person who's just Superman, who has a real significant tear in his shoulder, yet he could throw punches like, you know what I'm saying, like Nolan Ryan fastballs. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's hurt and grimacing in pain, he could take selfies and do all of this stuff. He's just so inhuman that he could do all these things when he's in immense amount of pain. So I'm not buying it. Me personally, I don't care. It happened. I'm over it. I'm ready for Canelo, Kirkland, Gennady Golovkin, Triple G. I just want people to stop perpetuating this bullshit. Stop hitting me up, at least. asking me to talk about this stuff because I don't care. I seen who was the best. Both fighters are getting older, and that's apparent. Mayweather said post-fight when they were talking to him, he said he came into the fight with injuries. They're older fighters. He came in the fight with injuries. He said he hurt his arms. He's like, I hurt both my hands, my arms, and he still was victorious. So what can anybody say? They both were hurt. They're both older and matured bodies, and Mayweather still found a way to get it done unanimously, and they were both injured. Stop perpetuating these, like, I understand if people want a rematch, but I would really respect it a lot more if Team Pacquiao just came out and said, I know I could have did better. Let's get a rematch on. We made a lot of money. Fans liked it. I could do better next time. I wouldn't have no problem with that. And say, you know what I mean, my shoulder, but don't say you lost because of your shoulder, because with or without your shoulder, you showed an inability with your feet and with your brain to outsmart Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? It's not even a matter about just landing that particular arm and that particular punch. He was outsmarting you. He was still hitting you with significant rights. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care, man. I'm literally over Mayweather Pacquiao. I don't even really want to talk about them until they got their next opponents and stuff like that. But please stop hitting me up asking me. Ego Valley does not want to keep dealing with this whole thing so we can draw out the saga. I knew it was going to be some. I was thinking like if it was a close fight, like a closer fight, then there would be this type of talk. But seeing how it was a clean, clear-cut victory, I know diehard Pacquiao fans and people who are racist that hate Mayweather that said, you know what, I'd give it to him. He won that fight. And the reason I know, not that I hang out with racists, but I know someone and their dad is racist, and they were telling me what their dad said about the fight. And they said Mayweather won fair and square. Pacquiao looked pretty bad. So, I mean, shoulder injury or not, these aren't things that sound right. And Paulie Malignaggi said it best. He said it in an interview. He says, you don't go into a fight talking like they were talking if you're nursing an injury, if you really have an injury. He said, I think they're being sore losers. He said, you don't really talk like that. He said, I know from experience, I'm a fighter. He said, I came into fights with injuries, and I know how they were talking. I know how he was looking at media days and how he's throwing punches, that he doesn't believe it's true because how confident they were. They said, we're going to score a knockout. Pacquiao looked supremely confident. These are things that people were even talking about, how calm and collect Pacquiao looked. He was taking selfies and stuff like that. Now, all of a sudden, you lose, and you had this, like, discerning shoulder injury with the significant rip. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of have to lean toward Paulie Malignaggi on this one in the sense of why were you not worried? How are you not worried one bit at all if you had this horrific shoulder injury that would prohibit you from using your arm, even though you use both hands, looked like just fine to me. You know what I'm saying? Why were you so calm? Again, Pacquiao is just Superman, so he can just throw punches even though he's in an immense amount of pain. He could do it without wincing. He could look and remain calm no matter what and take selfies even though his shoulder is ripped to shit and he can't use, it's inoperable, he's handicapped. Pacquiao can do this because he's Pacquiao. He's Manny Pacquiao. He's Superman. And then the last thing I'm going to say, as Ego Valley, still I rise. I know you guys get mad, but you can't do shit about it. Last thing that I will say is, again, always check people for consistency. When you look at the situation with Pacquiao, it does not sound consistent. Again, maybe he did get an injury. If, in my opinion, it's possible he has an injury. But I think it would be sustained in this particular fight because he didn't know what to do to corner Floyd. And he was lunging, he was reaching and overextending himself. So being an older fighter and being in this immense amount of pressure to really beat this guy, he might have tweaked his shoulder. But again, that's what happens when you don't know how to cut off the ring. You know what I mean? And you have to reach, and you're the shorter guy. You don't know how to get in on the inside against an intelligent fighter. So the last thing I will say is always check for consistency. Okay, Pacquiao didn't say anything post-fight with Max Kellerman about the shoulder until later. And that's when he had the time to convene with other people like Bob Arum and Top Rank and Freddie Roach and stuff. So to me, it sounds like they could have conspired some kind of plot. People are like, oh, but his UFC sparring partner said it was true. Of course. I mean, his UFC sparring partner has no career in boxing and a bad career in UFC, like with a ton of like losses. So they could have paid him off Just like you guys want to come up with these conspiracy theories about Floyd Mayweather and this and that, and this is Floyd paid off judges. Here's a conspiracy theory. How about a guy who wasn't really successful at UFC or boxing, right? Why didn't he get paid off? Why is it impossible to get like that? They just slid him $50,000 and said, "Hey, write this on your Twitter and say Manny Pacquiao was really hurt, and then we'll slide you this little bit of money." Since y'all want to come up with conspiracy theories, and again, the last thing I will say is this: just listen to this. Check for consistency. So, the chronological order. Pacquiao looked fine leading up to the fight. During the fight, in my eyes, he looked like regular Pacquiao minus the ability that he was nullified and his punches were neutralized and he didn't throw as much. But other than that, the way he was throwing and his conviction when he did get on the inside looked like regular standard Pacquiao, right? But after the fight, you talked to post fight with Max Kellerman. You didn't mention anything about your shoulder was the reason you lost, and you actually said, "I believe I won." You said you won. He got a lot of flack for it too. A lot of people, Lou DiBella, Paulie Malignaggi, a lot of people said he was being a sore loser. So it's like you jump from that to the shoulder shit. Because again, why wouldn't you mention the shoulder post-fight? And why did you say you won if you knew? So using this logic, just listen to me. Using this logic, Manny Pacquiao, again, Superman, is able to beat quote-unquote TBE, the best ever, a defensive wizard, a calculated boxer that we all know about that, right? We all know he's skilled, whether you agree to it or want to admit it or not. We know he's a skilled fighter. He's the #1 pound-for-pound guy, right? Based on what Manny Pacquiao said, I believe I won the fight. He said it repeatedly, even post-fight. He said, I won the fight. I won the fight. I won the fight. So you're telling me Manny Emmanuel Pac-Man Pacquiao beat Floyd Mayweather, TBE allegedly, right, with one arm, with a shitty arm. That doesn't add up. So if you lost and you admitted that you lost and then you said, hey, it's because of my shoulder. Okay, fine. That sounds whatever. It sounds like an excuse, but it's a little bit more believable. But Pacquiao told the world that he won the fight with Floyd Money Mayweather. He said, I won, I won, I won. So that means you were able to beat the #1 pound-for-pound guy with one arm, because this is what you're now stating, that your arm is the reason you lost. And the Nevada State Athletic Commission didn't allow you injections or shots or whatever so close to the fight. So you beat TBE. You're that good that you beat TBE with one arm from rounds 3 all the way to the end of the fight. Come on. You guys know what time it is. Ego Veli, I'm out. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video. The New World Order. I'm out.